Now that we've talked about my anime past, let's have a look at more recent anime. The only condition I have for a character to show up here is that the show must have ended in 2015, so no Iron-Blooded Orphans characters. I would like to emphasize that the characters are in no particular order for two reasons. Trying to bring them into any kind of order would crush my brain and my soul, and the moment you put a number in front or at the end of something, the discussion tends to be more about the number itself than about celebrating the thing that is being discussed. My name is Kristin, this is STALK, and let's get this party started. I would like to throw in two honorable mentions right off the bat. While the rest of the world was discussing the best boy in Akatsuki no Yona, I was posting pictures of Ao. From the moment she appeared for the first time, she became the thing I was looking for in every scene. The great thing about Matsumoto's production is her insane attention to detail. So every time Sonic the Monkey appeared on screen, I was in a pinch. Reading the subtitles meant I couldn't watch Sonic. Watching Sonic meant I couldn't read the subtitles, and Funimation subtitles are hard enough to figure out as it is. Now let's continue with the real list. I like food. Good food is relevant to me. Kofuku Gravity wasn't one of the best anime this year, but I can identify with Machiko's conflict a lot. If you are into cooking, you might know what I'm talking about. While I'm a pretty damn good cook, if I may say so myself, there are still a couple of dishes I never get right, although I follow the recipe. They lack something. Maybe in a couple of years I will figure out the magic ingredient, especially grandmothers seem to use. This sweet little detail made Kofuku Gravity and Machiko special enough to mention her here. I liked Yuki Tatsuya or Meijin Kawaguchi in Gundam Build Fighters before. Therefore, I really appreciated having him return for the second season. Seeing how far he's come with achieving his goal of spreading the Gunpla joy was one of many welcome details to bring season 1 and 2 together. The real person Katsumi Kawaguchi, on which the idea of a Gunpla master builder is based on, is amazing too. He's part of Bandai's hobby department and usually a jury member at building contests. Definitely check out his tutorials on the Gundam Info channel. He won me over when he explained why Gunpla can be a great hobby for girls too. He compared the creative process when painting Gunpla to makeup and even stated that every girl who's doing her makeup every day is probably better at painting than he is. I highly doubt that, but it was still a nice touch. Yuki Tatsuya embodies those beliefs in the Build Fighters universe. 2015 was my Gunpla year, so I just had to bring him up. I told you that food is relevant to me. Show by Rock was a simple story about a shy girl overcoming her fears. No surprises here story-wise, but its overall goofiness and colorful side characters made it work very well. Shingan Crimsonz took the crown for that. The combination of slapstick humor, cartoony emphasized faces, and their overall dorkiness was what kept me watching during slower episodes. And they sing songs about food. How can you not be completely in love with them? The voice cast was on point. It had Kisho Taniyama in the kind of over-the-top role I love him in. I will never get tired of Koki Uchiyama voicing snarky and conceited characters. Tetsuya Kakihara is fabulous whatever he does, and Yoshimasa Hosoya barking out motivational speeches should be a staple of every anime. Well, it kinda already is. With the second season of Show by Rock announced, I really hope we will focus on those guys more. It would be a comedy festival.
私は何も知らない姫だが、どうにもわからぬ者の言葉に耳を貸そうと落ちぶれてはいない。
Okay, you will hear me gush about Akatsuki no Yona a couple of times in December. Let's just say I'm going to continue talking about it until every last one of you has seen it. I like to complain about modern female characters. They tend to be reduced to a stereotype and don't feel very human. Yona was different. Her journey from a sheltered princess to becoming a true ruler felt very organic and natural. At no point in the story she's overpowered. Instead, she gets angry, sad, or scared when things happen she can't influence. She's adorably oblivious to her travel companions, but has enough sentiment to realize when people are in need of support. I've got a full review for the series scheduled, so I'll enter characterization here. It also feels very unfair to talk about Yona alone because the entire cast is amazing. But we don't have problems finding amazing male characters, so Yona had to be on this list. Ushio and Tora was one of the most charming series this year. It's based on a manga that came out in the 1990s and therefore felt a lot like the shows I grew up with. I had some issues with its Monster of the Week style, which was unnecessary because we have the best monster right here. Since Tora has been confined in a warehouse for the last 500 years, he has to realize that a lot of things have changed in the meantime. Tora discovering human things as well as his bickering with Ushio and his gorgeous cartoony faces were the things that kept me watching. Many famous voice actors had guest appearances in Soruga Seiyu, a series which gave a little bit of insight into the slightly weird side of the industry. Since Hiroshi Kamiya basically has his own category at the annual Seiyu Awards, I don't consider it cheating to include him here. Every time a real person is introduced in Soruga Seiyu, it is usually done with an anecdote. In Kamiya's case it worked particularly well for me because I quite like him and the characters he has brought to life. He's introduced as an absolute cat lover and approaches our protagonist Futaba because she happens to wear a cat shirt. Kamiya does have a gorgeous Russian blue called Nyanko-sensei because of course he does, and he is infamous for bragging about him. When he reappears in a later episode, he is shown from a much more serious side and offers real advice for the character in need of it. While he is now one of the big names in the business, he too started out as a newbie who had to go through some hardships in both his private and work life. Being reminded by him that nobody starts out perfect at everything made those two episodes even more memorable. I am disappointed. Everyone only ever talks about Suna. Yeah, he's the handsome and reliable one, while Takeo is... Takeo? But come on guys, you're the problem! Takeo is great in his own way. Bringing up one without the other doesn't work anyway. A series about Suna alone doesn't work, while a series about Takeo could turn into comedy gold, but definitely not a romance. Together they keep each other grounded and their chemistry made them special. They kept surprising me how simple a friendship between men and a friendship in a romance anime in particular could be. They kept me smiling for 6 months, and that is why they deserve to be among the best characters in 2015. Gangsta's production background is one of the saddest things that happened this year, and now even the manga went on hiatus. It doesn't change anything about the fact that Gangsta was one of the anime this year that handled its female characters better than I would have expected. Gangsta is a mafia story, therefore sex and violence are predominant themes. Alex used to work as a prostitute and meets our two protagonists when they are disposing of her boss. Instead of just letting them do the honors, she shoots him herself to make sure he is gone. After that she goes through a vicious cycle of PTSD and we begin to learn more about her. In between all that, Gangsta never glorifies its darker themes, and that is important. She is wearing a revealing dress, but that is fine with me as it fits the tone of the series, and it's not just a cheap shot to keep the audience's attention. What's even better is that Alex wasn't the only great female character. Over the course of the story we meet the owner of a gun shop and the daughter of one of the 4 bosses who took over the business after her father's death. I would love to know more about all of the characters in Gangsta, but I guess that might take some time.
じゃあその頭部の肌色の装甲は？
いやこれ肌だから。
いやしかしそれでは先生が若くしてハゲているということに。
ハゲてんだよ、なんなんだてめえは！
I can't decide which One Punch Man character I like most. I just can't. Just like Suna and Takeo, I feel like Saitama is a character who works best when he's around other people because of his straightforward behavior. His decisions are usually based on whether they will make his life easier in the long run. That gets a bit more complicated when he meets Genos, who was so impressed by Saitama's skills that he asks him to become his mentor. Problem is that Genos tends to take things too literal. That way the two of them create the most ridiculous dialogues. The supporting cast also brings out the good sides of him, like Moomin Rider does in episode 9. Even though Saitama seems indifferent, he is actually a good guy deep down. Due to various circumstances, people start complaining because that is what we do. Instead of persisting on taking credit, he backs down, lets people believe he's a fraud, and thus protects both Genos and many other heroes. Saitama chooses his battles wisely. I wish the internet would learn from him. I also really like Sonic, by the way. Having such an amazingly conceited character get into a conversation with Saitama, who couldn't give less of a fuck, is just lovely. These are by far not all of the characters I liked this year. I'm actually pretty sure I've forgotten some completely obvious choices, so definitely let me know your favorites down in the comments below. Tomorrow I would like to take the time to talk about the people who bring those characters to life. If you're interested in that, then don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.